All right, let's dive right in. Over the next few minutes, we are going to completely change how you think about building things online. We're talking about how literally anyone, and I mean anyone, even with zero tech background, can now build and even monetize real software using AI. The game has changed, for real. The power to create isn't just for developers anymore.
This statement right here, this is the whole idea. See, most people are using AI to ask questions, which is fine, but a very small, very smart group is using it to build. And that's the huge difference between being a consumer and being a creator. These tools aren't just some fun experiment anymore. They're stable, they're accessible, and they are ready for you to use right now. For decades, knowing how to code was this massive wall between a good idea and a real product. I can't code was the end of the conversation. Well, as we're about to see, that wall has completely crumbled. It's been replaced by a new skill, a skill that absolutely anyone can learn. So where do we start? Let's begin by just demystifying what's actually happening here. This first part is all about making a mental shift, really understanding what AI is, in simple terms, and how it completely changes your role as a creator. Okay, forget all the complicated sci-fi definitions you've ever heard. The simplest, cleanest way to get AI is to think of it as a pattern prediction machine. That's it. It looks at billions of examples of data and just gets incredibly good at predicting the most likely next thing based on what you ask it. It's not magic, it's not thinking, it's just pattern recognition on a massive, massive scale. The whole AI world can feel super crowded and confusing, right? But it really just boils down to a few key types. You've got tools for text, tools for images, and tools that help developers write code faster. But the real game changer, the one we're focused on, is this fourth category: no-code AI builders. These tools don't just help you with a task, they build the entire functional product for you. This right here is the big mental shift you have to make. You're moving from being the doer, the one laying every single brick by hand, to being the director, the one guiding the entire process. Your job is no longer to write thousands of lines of code. Your job is to clearly define the outcome you want. You get to be the architect, not the bricklayer. Okay, so if you're the director, how do you give directions? That brings us to the single most important skill you need to develop in this new world, and that skill is called prompting. Honestly, this is the new programming language. Now, prompting isn't just typing a random idea and hoping for the best. It's about learning to give clear, structured instructions. Most people who struggle with AI don't fail because the tool is bad. They fail because their instructions are vague. AI is super literal. If your instructions are fuzzy, your output is going to be fuzzy. Simple as that. I mean, this comparison says everything, doesn't it? On the left, build a fitness app. That's a wish. It's a dream. The prompt on the right, though, that's a blueprint. By defining specific features like user login, workout logging, and progress charts, you remove all the guesswork for the AI. In this game, specificity always wins. This is honestly the perfect way to think about it. You would never walk up to a new junior developer and just say, "Hey, build me an app," right? No way. You'd give them a list of features, a user flow, and crystal clear requirements. The moment you start treating AI like a development partner instead of some magic box, everything will click into place. Okay, let's move from theory to practice. Let's talk about the actual tools and see how this all comes together. As a beginner, you don't need the most complex system out there. You just need the most practical tool to get something built and start building momentum. So, how do these AI builders actually work? Well, they handle everything. You don't just get a bunch of random code snippets that you have to figure out how to piece together. Nope. You provide a clear description of the features you want, and the AI builds the entire application. The front end, what users see, the back end logic, and the database to store everything. This is what completely removes all that technical headache. And now for the how-to part. Building with AI isn't a one-and-done thing. It's actually a really simple, repeatable loop that lets you start small and improve step by step. This is your workflow. It's beautiful in its simplicity. Prompt, build, test, refine. You start with a precise initial prompt to build version 1. Then you test it. You click through every button, every feature. You'll find things that are off, and that's okay. Then you just use follow-up prompts to refine it and fix the issues. You just repeat that loop. This is so important. This is the moment where most beginners just give up. They see something that's broken and they think the whole project is a failure. But finding issues isn't failure. It's actually a critical part of the process. Every single bug you find is an opportunity to make your instructions clearer and your final app even better.
Okay, before you start adding all the cool, fancy features, you have to make sure your foundation is rock solid. Every real app must have these 4 pillars. User authentication, so people can sign up and have their own private account. Data persistence, so their information actually saves when they leave. Mobile responsiveness, because let's be real, most people will use it on their phone. And basic security, because trust is everything. Without these, no one's going to stick around.
So, at this point, you have a real working app. That's amazing. But that's not the end goal. Now we shift our thinking from just building a cool project to creating a real valuable asset. A functional product proves your concept works, but the presentation is what gives it credibility. You can use visual editors to polish the design, make it look great. You can integrate with payment tools like Stripe so you can actually make money. And then you can deploy your app to the internet with a single click to get a live URL. This is how your project becomes a business. This whole process gives you an incredible strategic advantage. Just look at these factors. You can build something in days, not months or years. The cost is a tiny fraction of traditional development, and you can iterate and make changes almost endlessly. This speed is your new superpower. It lets you test ideas so fast to find out what the market actually wants.
And this brings us to one final really crucial mindset shift. Please, don't bet everything on one perfect idea. Instead, you should think like an investor and adopt a portfolio approach. Build several small, focused, useful tools. This dramatically lowers your risk, it massively speeds up your learning, and it lets you build an entire ecosystem of assets that can even support each other.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? The ability to build a piece of software is becoming common. It's not the rare skill anymore. Your competitive advantage is no longer technical. It's your clarity of vision and, more importantly, your speed of execution. The people who are winning now are the ones who can execute the fastest. So that's it. We've covered the new reality, the key skill, the tools, and the mindset. The technical barrier that stood for 50 years is officially gone. All the old excuses are off the table. The only real question left is, what will you build?